Hey everyone, Lemur here, and today we have our Wukong guide. First, we're going to be starting with his abilities and kind of what they do, as well as some nuances to them. Second, we're going to be going through his build, as well as what I think is the best on him right now. Third, we're going to be taking a look at some gameplay, as well as things that you should be looking out for while you're playing Wukong. Alright, to start out, Wukong is not the highest damage character in the game. He does have a lot of mobility and a lot of ways to distract his enemies, but if you're looking to do someone that's top of the damage leaderboard, it's probably not going to be Wukong. Wukong is still a very, very good character, but his damage is a bit more bursty, as well as used to distract your enemies and let your team clean up. Starting out with his abilities, we have his L and B, which is a 3-hit combo, right like this. And you can also hold your L and B to do a little bit of a combo, and then afterwards it does a slight kick forward. The thing to note about this L and B is that the first 2 hits will do less damage, and then the last hit will do more. 115, 115, 229. So the third hit is always better to do if you can manage to get that win. And then additionally, you have this hold L and B, which will do damage over time. It will actually do more damage at the tip of it. So see, it's doing 42 now. Back up. Oh, wait for the target enemy to come back. You back up, it'll do 84. So it'll do double damage if you're a little bit further away. And then after it's done, it'll do the third attack of the combo. And then finally with this LMB, we have an additional thing where if you jump and use an LMB, it'll be the first part of your combo. So notice how if you jump LMB, you do 2 and 3, right? You don't have another one. So if you ever try to jump and do it over and over, you won't be able to spam this ability because it is still thinking that you're part of the combo. I hope that makes sense. All right. The thing about this LMB, the ranged one, is it doesn't do very much damage. As you can see, it's doing 58, 59 damage. However, it does apply a really good slow on the enemy, all right? It's like a maybe 50% slow, so pretty much you just use this for the slow. You don't really use it for anything else, all right? And maybe to spike someone, all right? Next, we're going to be talking about Wukong's RMB. On my screen, it says left shift, but that's just because I have weird keybinds. This is his RMB, all right? So whenever you use this spell, you'll perch up on top of your pole. You press it again, you'll get off the pole, and you can slam your staff forward. Something to note about this ability is that you do have this shield on your health bar. If that shield ever breaks, you'll be broken off of your pole, stunned, and you're going to be in for a bad time. Reset that cooldown. But you'll go up on your pole, you press RB once, and then you can press it again to slam. If any enemy is caught on the inside middle of that slam, they will take more damage, they will be stunned, and if they are in the abyss, they will be dunked into the abyss and instantly die. Right? There's a ton of things about this ability to understand. For instance, if you jump before using it, you will start a little bit higher than if you were just started on the ground. Right? Likewise, you ever get a jump pad real quick. You're in a jump pad, you'll go up higher. Oh, it's on cooldown. Whoops. And notice how it's significantly bigger, right? So the most damage that we can do without items to this, 252. However, if we're actually on a jump pad, 291. So while the pole has a good height up in the air, that's not the highest that you can actually go. You can go actually a little bit further, right? So playing with height definitely helps Wukong. There's a few ways that he can get height. One of the ways that he can actually get height is his dash, sends him a little bit far up in the air, maybe like 2 Bebos tall. So if you actually dash, which we'll get to in a bit, you can use your RMB and get a little bit higher quicker. Cool. We're going to get into this ability a bit longer when we talk about his ulti, but that's the general consensus of how to use it right now. You also can just double tap it really quick to do a quick little slam. All right. Moving on to his left shift, which is his dash. You can tap it for a quick dash for a shorter cooldown, or you can hold it and do a longer one. All right. You can combine this with your RMB to get up on your pole, and I'm already holding dash now. And you can combine it with your dash to kind of go for a longer range slam, alright? It's a pretty important combo for Wukong. You also could do it like I showed before, you dash, and then RMB, and then slam. Alright, just different ways that you can use your kit. An additional thing about this is that if you use your dash, you will get increased attack speed. And the buff is on the right over here, so. The attack speed is actually a good amount, so you notice it's like almost double, honestly. So make sure that you're keeping in mind that the attack speed whenever you are doing your combos. Okay. Finally, this cooldown will reset when you perch on a tree, and to understand that we need to look at its passive, which is Treetop Acrobat. If you ever jump on top of a tree, you perch on top of it, which resets your dash and gives you glider fuel, and enemies lose vision of you when you jump on top of a tree. So there you go, and you can dash to other trees. Oops. And yeah, it's a pretty fun mechanic. One thing to note is when you jump up on a tree, whenever you WASD to move off of it, you kind of get like a little leap forward. So if you want, you could charge your dash and then do the jump. Yeah. That is super helpful for chasing enemies, or like we mentioned before, you can use it to get height. So we jump up on the tree, and then we instantly pull, we can slam, alright? So trees are really good for Wukong. It lets him do everything that he wants quicker and better. And then speaking of trees, we have Ambush Spin Attack, which is his Q or E, depending on what you have it binded on. Press the button once, you turn into a tree, alright? You can move around as this tree. People do lose their HP bar, so you can use it to hide. Allies can hide inside of you as well. If you press the button again, you will do a little spin, and this will deal damage, alright? It's kind of like a moderate amount of damage, not the most, not the least, alright? One thing to note about this ability is if you double tap it really quick, it'll instantly do the spin, so you don't have to go through the tree. And then finally, the other thing I do want to mention about this ability is if you are turned into a tree, it does block one hit. The tree will block one hit. So if your Celeste is ulting, and you turn into a tree, it can block the Celeste ulti. It does have some uses, however, if you do get hit by any other thing during that, then the tree will break, and then you will be sad. Alright. And then finally, one of the coolest abilities in the game, his ultimate 6 Monkey Strike. Alright. This one will spawn clones of you, and these clones will mimic one ability that you do. Alright. For instance, if I use my RMB, they'll all get up on the pole, and then they'll all use the RMB. There's a ton of application for this. For instance, you could do something like this, where you get up on your pole, and then you all RMB the guy. Right? That one wasn't a very good one, but I will show you how to do a good one. Also, you can use it to do your spin. Cool. You can use it to turn into a tree. I don't know if you ever want to do that. Do your spin. It's like, I guess you could do this, and then jump on top of your allies to get tree resets. I'm not sure that would ever be useful or like what you would want to do with it, but you technically could do that. You also can do your hold LMB, which is sometimes good. Someone's in the middle. You do a lot of damage. But there's like infinite possibilities for this ability, and honestly, I do not think anyone has figured out the full potential of this ability. One of the cool combos that I saw from this ability is jump padding in. And a jump pad in, some of your clones, RB, instantly slam, hit all 6 of them. It's sometimes a bit hard to do depending on your distance, but when you get it down, it could be nuts and pretty much one-shot people. Something else with this ability, it's a bit of a bug, but if you use it as you're spamming your spin attack, your clones will kind of walk all together and kind of stack. This would be definitely something that gets fixed, but you know, just if you want to use it before it gets fixed, that's how you do it. You could use it to do the LB one as well as slam at the same time. So there's some really cool combos that you could do here, and we're going to be talking about some of them whenever we get into more of the gameplay section. The one thing I forgot to mention is that the hold LMB will also do destructible damage, so you can break trees and walls and Oath Shield quicker. And then it'll also stagger mobs. For instance, whenever they get that purple circle under them like that, you don't want to use any mana, you can just use the LMB to stagger them really quick. Finally, we're going to talk about a little bit of a bug that's in the game right now that might get removed. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I'm pretty sure it is going to be removed, but it's kind of a Wukong pod racing is what people have been calling it. You jump off a ledge, you hold LB, you glide, you pretty much do this over and over. And you can go really fast around the map. Essentially the inputs are you jump, you hold LB, glide, hold LB, glide, hold LB, glide. Or you can tap LB. It kind of depends on how fast you're going and what you're doing. It's probably going to get fixed, so I'm not going to spend too much more time on it. Alright, next up we're going to be talking about Wukong builds. So I'm going to preface this by saying the game has only been out for like 4 days, so I do not know if this is the correct build. However, this is my best guess of a really good build for Wukong that I find works. We're going to start with the grips. Generally on Wukong, I think ability haste is very good because as you can see his abilities, they are very, very, very good. And his LB is sometimes a bit underwhelming, but it's still very good in its own right. So I generally always like to go for as much ability haste as I generally can. So I like to go for this chrono gauge as it'll give me 15% ability haste and it can give me refunds on my cooldowns. From here you have a few options. I generally like to go Burning Palm, and fortunately I've got it to 3-star, but I think regardless of it being 3-star, it's a pretty good ability, and it kind of works with Wukong's kind of in and out, you know, fighting over time playstyle. So these are the two I would really suggest for him at the moment. For boots, I generally just think these rocket high tops are extremely broken right now. Maybe they'll get nerfed in the future, but it just lets you dash further, and that is super helpful, and you don't need a ton of dash haste on this character if you are playing it right and playing near trees, because if you jump up on a tree, it'll reset your dash. That's usually the boots that I end up going. For relics, I like to go for more CDR, so I end up going for Isocrons. And then here you guys have a few options here. So if you want to play more for the tree playstyle, you can try doing the Sword of the Seven Suns for more damage, but it will cost you some dash haste, so you have to make sure you're by trees. Or you could try Thunderbolt, which will give you more ability damage, and then proc a little Electrocute Bolt whenever you are dealing more damage. Or I've seen people do Ardent Songbow, which hitting enemy with primary attacks will reduce their cooldowns. That's also pretty good. Honestly, there's a few options that you could do here. You could definitely go for a mobility power like Hover Wings. You could jump up on your pole, Hover Wings in, slam someone. There's tons of options here. I think just like this space start is like really solid. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another build that someone comes up with that is just as good, but that is what I've been liking. Get your pull onto a really low cooldown. As for ability level ups, I generally think that RMB maxing is the best, as it gives you double climb speed on your pull, which lets you land your RMB faster. So your other options for maxing would be to heal over time while perching on trees, which I'd say is not as useful if you're winning, but maybe for if you're losing the game, maybe you can go on it. And then spin attack doubles the duration, which isn't always good. Sometimes you want to just be hitting them and stuff, so that's why I think that one falls a little bit low, but I could definitely see a meta where it's like maybe spin attack is like more of your damage. So generally I'll level all my abilities once, and then I'll max out my RMB, and then I'll max out my shift to lower the cooldown, and then I'll max out my spin. And then I would put a point into my ulti whenever I could. That is how I would level my abilities. Alright, now we're going to be taking a look at some Wukong gameplay. This is a game that I played on the second day of launch, so I am gold in this clip, but it is against the mostly high OMR. But yeah, people were definitely were learning Wukong and didn't know how to play against him, but I think it was a pretty good game by me. There's a lot of things that we can talk about. Let's skip through some of the stuff, mainly focused on Wukong. Generally, I don't think I did a good job here, but I've learned a little bit since then, but I like to start spin and use it to kind of get all the mobs cleared if I'm alone. Like I said, I like maxing my R&B. I ended up picking up a Thunderbolt off one of the items here, or one of the mobs here, so that was pretty nice. They'll just give me some bonus damage whenever I'm doing my combo. Cool. And getting level 6. Start moving around the map. Here I'm just like looking for some other items. I think I do end up going for the Burning Palm this game. Yep, I end up going this build that I was talking about. And we got into our first fight. So I jumped up on a tree, I think by accident. I'm using the little L and B tech to move faster. It will be removed. I start out with a slow there, and I miss a few autos, but we get the job done. And here I get level 7, and I get slammed off my pole, which I didn't even know could happen. But yeah, if you're low enough on the pole, you can get slammed off. So I would say not say I played this fight super well, but he gets the job done. Team cleans up. We'll bring into the next fight. Like we are fighting over the abyss, and there's a Jin in the north that we can see on the mini map. Here I'm trying to look for a slam. One thing about your ulti, it does give you, I didn't talk about it at all, but it does give you invulnerability frames. You can see it's kind of grayed out here. It's pretty hard to read, but it gives you around a second of invulnerability. So if you're ever about to be dunked, you can always use that to stop yourself from being stunned over the abyss. There we get a nice dunk right there. So we used invulnerability, we combined it with our spin, we did some damage. We used our hold L and B to get damage on Dylan here, and then we kill him with the last part of the hold L and B. We use our R and B, and we start using our dash right now to dash as soon as we leave the pole into the stun on the bishop. We get the dunk here. So we get into another fight. I use my ult with my R and B. Slam on that guy, spin. Hit him with LBs, and he's just dead. So, nothing too crazy here. We kind of just land our abilities, and he dies. Given a Mimo. And he ends up having a really good perk, Resilience, one of the best perks in the game. It gives you armor regen and health regen when you're out of combat. Here I'm looking for a dunk on the bishop. And I'm not getting it, but I still get on top of her and land the slow. And we end up finishing her off. And if you're wondering where this is being played, it's being played on my Twitch channel. So we have Twitch chat on the side here. So if you ever want to go check out my streams, I sometimes play Wukong. Twitch.tv/Ryan Lemur. Yeah, we end up killing the soul. See another team. I ulti with my cones. I end up landing the stun on this guy up here in the north. We end up killing him for it. Right there, I use my dash plus my pull to get distance higher. We'll just replay that one really quick. So I'm charging up my dash here. Right here. I was mid-jump, and then I'm already this high on the pole so that the stun can be quicker. Unfortunately, it would almost be better if I wasn't as high, so I could hit him with my stun, but that's kind of what I was going for here. I think we have another fight here over at the heart. And I just do crazy damn. At this point I am pretty fed, but yeah, pretty much Wukong is a very, I wouldn't say he's super ult reliant, but his ult is like very impactful on his damage. Yeah. Boom. That was that again, where we dash in with our R&B. It's a very common combo. Here I use the spin with my ulti to do some extra damage. And then I use my pull plus my dash to go in for the R&B on this guy. And now I have all my abilities maxed. We're level 13. We're in good shape right here. There is 5 teams alive, so still a few teams up still. I see that this guy is really low eating. But then this guy is last as well. We end up getting the kill on that guy. I am looking for more kills to be had. As you can see, I am doing the LMB speed up pod racing thing, but will probably be removed. But I think even if it's removed, the character is still very playable. Getting a Luna ulted. I probably shouldn't have killed him. But then I get the dunk. And we're going to replay this one. There's a few decisions here. And we get another dunk too. So first off, the Luna's on me. And I just kind of ignore the Luna because I want to help my team. Because I'm pretty sure they're calling for help at this moment. And so I just go for to help my team here and stun the Celeste and kind of go on her. Then finally I have my R&B back up, and so I'm just channeling it, and I land the dunk on the Aluna. I end up using my dash, and then get another dunk by using it very quickly. So whenever you dash, if you ever touch it or like kill a jelly, there'll be like this little orb right here. You can kind of see it. It'll reset your dash. So that's why I kind of went for the dash here. Oh, there's like some VLC media player lag, and then I do the dash R&B, same as before. If I was better, I'd probably get in front of that bishop ulti to stop it. And there, we hit him with a... I think this might be a bug. Nah, we go full distance. But, yeah. We pretty much ulti while we're down in the abyss, and then we R&B hold, and then we just slam them with the six different R&Bs. So, the ulti plus R&B is a super satisfying combo, and usually the best combo to do with your ulti, but there are definitely times to do the hold LMB or the spin move as well. Overall though, I've really been enjoying Wukong. I think he's really fun. And we get another dunk. So this is one of the benefits of playing Wukong, is you can't just turn it to a tree, and I think it's pretty underutilized, this ability to turn it to a tree. I'm even not the best at it, but it does hide your health bar and like give you crazy opportunities to do something like this where you're killing a character that normally is super hard. Yeah. End up getting the rewind, and I decided to drop the Thunderbolt for it. Getting a fight over here. Oh, one thing I did want to mention is that if you R&B too quick after you ult, it'll like kind of bug out and not work. So you always want to like kind of wait like 0.5 seconds. That's what happened here. It's like it like bugged out and it didn't work. Have Krista stuck in the corner here. Oh, and then I freed her with my thing. There I was trying to immune the bishop punch, but I ended up missing the timing on it. Like here I was trying to use it, but then I got stunned and then I used it anyways. Yeah, Wukong has a ton of survivability. Oh my gosh, we almost died there. Ton of survivability, and he has good damage too. I would just say it's like, you're not going to be doing more damage than a ghost or a bishop or, you know, a few other Shiv, but his damage that he does usually ends up leading to kills or helping your team in some way. We end up chasing this guy. I try to immune his dunk. Tried to use my clone to dunk him. I didn't end up getting it, and then I think he just ends up getting spiked here. Boom. And there we go. We ended up getting doing 19k there and getting 15 knocks, which is kind of insane. You definitely can have pop-off games as this character, and I definitely think this character is super fun. This guide was a bit impromptu because I just want to get back to playing the game, but I do want to make a guide for Wukong. But if you ever have any questions, seriously, come ask on my Twitch channel. I answer as many questions as I can. I love you guys, and I will see you next time.